Indian theatre had initially been a hesitant adaptation from the language of the colonial rulers into the language spoken in Indian capital, Calcutta. Within a few decades, patronage flowed, first as private stage and later as public stage. There was high euphoria as great original plays poured in from stalwarts like Michael Madhusudan Datta. With mythological plays to begin with, the trend turned to historical plays, social plays, and then psychological plays. With increasing sophistication, the Bengali play has also been a tool of protest against the British and a weapon of surging patriotism. It has been gradually a tool for social action and social change too. These myriad facets of Bengali theatre are given here to share this proud Bengali heritage of India. Bengali theatre on a proscenium stage, at its precise moment of birth, was more a Russian legacy than an English one. It was a Russian violinist cum cultural worker Gerasim Stefanovich Lebedev, who found the Bengali theatre at Calcutta to adapt an English play, The Disguise by S. Jodrell, into Bengali Kalponik song Badul, and staged it as the first ever Indian proscenium stage play in India on 27th November 1795. The great theatre person Shishir Kumar Bhaduri wrote about this event. We had plays in our country for many centuries, but not a playhouse. Following the English, the proscenium stage was established in Bengal in place of open areas according to the dictates of the Elizabethan theatre system. In Bengal, the first endeavor to set up a theatre was done by a Russian, Gerasim Lebedev. This historical playhouse was located at the then Domtola, the present Ejra Street, in Calcutta, West Bengal, India. No sign, of course, exists of that stage, which was burned down, perhaps, by the dissidents. But the play itself, staged with the creative cooperation of Lebedev's teacher Goloknath Das, had price tickets for 8 rupees and 4 rupees, that is 2 mohurs and 1 mohur. 4 rupees is 1 mohur. And despite the stiff entry fee, people thronged to the shows that the play ran. But as analyzed by Brajendranath Bandyopadhyay, for the native babus, used to the entertaining abuses of the foxy Kavi and Pachali, and the dominant musical content of the folk theatre, Jatra, the first English-style proscenium stage could not last. Nevertheless, the Indian theatre began at the colonial capital with 2 other first, to its credit, the first use of lyrics from a noted contemporary poet for its music, and the first acting of female roles by women. no mean achievement indeed. The beginning. The wind of English theatre was already blowing. The Playhouse 1753, the Calcutta Theatre 1775, under the patronage of Warren Hastings and Sir Elijah Impey, the Private Theatre 1789 of the irrepressible Mrs. Bristow and the Wheeler Place Theatre at 1797 for the British elite, without entry for women, were all staging vintage English plays with great gusto. With the Chorongi Theatre 1813, the Town Hall 1814, the Khidirpur Theatre 1815, and the Dum Theatre 1817 to follow. But the Bengali theatre had its other roots as well, struck deep into the indigenous soil. The devotional songs and dances, the ritualistic processions, fairs and festivals, the all-night performance of the thriving jatra, and the evening soirees of Dhop, Kheur, Panchali, Akhdai were all variations of the musical narrative tradition, punctuated with humor and social satire, and were all part of the Babu culture for both English and Bengali plays. The first phase. The quiescent cultural scene threw up its next Bengali gem a good 40 years later, when Vidyasundar, by the same lyric poet Bharat Chandra, was staged at Calcutta in 1835 with female roles by women again for a princely sum of rupees 2 lakhs. Another score of years later came Avigyanam Shakuntalam as an adaptation from Kalidas's Sanskrit play. Almost simultaneously came the landmark production Kulin Kulo Sarbosho, an original play based on the social problems and the Reformation movement, with the great reformer Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar among the appreciative audience. The playwright was Ramnarayan Tarkoratna, who had the stellar honor of bringing out a dozen or more plays in the following decades and dubbed Natuke Ramnarayan. Umesh Chandra Banerjee, a future Congress president, played the female role in Kalidas's Vikram Urvashi, adapted by Ramnarayan again in 1857. But too many adaptations hurt the sensibility of the poet Michael Madhusudan Datta, who produced his mellifluous play Sarmishta 1857, enacted several times. Another landmark social reform play was Vidhava Vivaho 1857 by Umesh Chandra Mitra. This phase was enriched a lot by the Tagore family, who not merely founded new theatre halls like Jorashako and others, but also encouraged new plays like adaptation, farces, verse plays, social satires, and epic-based plays, including Michael's Krishna Kumari and Ekei Ki Bole Shobhota, and a biting social play, Nabonatok, based on women's condition and misrule of the Jamindars. The explosive play of this age came in 1867 as Nildarpan, based on political subjugation by the British over the indigo farmers. It created furor in the society, and by 1872 had introduced the first ever regular ticketed show at rupees 1 and paise 50 at the National Theatre. The same playwright Dinobandhu Mitra produced other satires like Jamai Barik and Sadobar Ekadashi, all of which ushered in a new era for Bengali theatre. Along with such stalwarts as Girish Chandra Ghosh, called the father of the Bengali stage, Ardendra Shekhar Mustafi, and others. At the suggestion of Michael, women came back to the stage to do female roles. By 1876, the pyrotechnics of the political plays drew ire from the ruling class. When the Prince of Wales visited Bengal in that year, some members of the local aristocracy welcomed him effusively, a fact greeted with biting sarcasm in the theatre of the day. Play after play were banned by the police, and the daring theatre people retorted with such works as The Police of Pig and Sheep, to be immediately banned by the Drama Control Act of 1876. Many playhouses were consequently closed down, but the cultural effulgence was hardly stultified. Gulab Sundari was one of the first actresses on the then stage, who also was the first woman playwright. Noti Binodini was another greatly talented actress with such a rare versatility that her donning the role of Sri Chaitanya on stage was felicitated by no less a person than Sri Ramakrishna. It were the likes of Gulab Sundari and Binodini, coming from the socially outcast community of sex workers, who strove to preserve the social tradition and restore the ambience for artistic creativity. Binodini gave both her money and labor by literally working to lift earth in order to build the actors' own Star Theatre 1883. The same playhouse, after changing hands, was the first to use electricity, 1887. A great event of this phase was the arrival of Rabindranath Tagore on the Bengali theatre scene. The newly electrified Emerald Theatre presented his Bau Thakurani's Heart and Raja O Rani. Tagore was a striking presence on stage at the Jodasanko Theatre and later at Shantiniketan. Tagore's seminal influence on theatre continued till 1939, with 13 original plays and 8 adaptations from his novels and short stories. The other fiery personality who blazed the trail of patriotism on the folk stage was the writer, singer, actor Mukund Das at the turn of the century, whose imprisonment for a few years did not dampen his ardor in the least. The second phase. In the wake of Bengal partition 1905 and the World War I 1914 to 1918, the patriotic movement was at its peak. Bengal saw the advent of Shishir Kumar Bhaduri, a professor of English literature, turned into a most versatile actor and theatre director, touched up by Basanta Leela 1924 at the Alfred Theatre, presided over by the great patriot Chittaranjan Das, and recitation by the rebel poet Kazi Nazrul Islam. In a span of 38 years, of professional life, Shishir Kumar produced more than 50 plays and led to the contemporary Bengali theatre as held by Tagore. Ahindra Chaudhary as Shahjahan, Manoranjan Bhattacharya as Valmiki, and Tagore himself as Raghupati, as well as Jaisingh, were some of the unforgettable characterizations of this era. Three dominant trends were introduced by Tagore and Shishir Kumar. First, the Bengal stage was made accessible to women from the middle and upper middle class families, as distinct from the earlier women from the brothels. Secondly, in plays like Muktodhara and Raktokorobi, the great gap between the proscenium stage and the more intimate folk stage was substantially reduced. Finally, and especially with Tagore, the liberation of stage set and stage decoration from the strangling Western realism was achieved with the intervention of painters and sculptors, as in Falguni and Daghar. The third phase. The volcanic eruptions in the Bengali theatre, stoked by the World War II, 1939 to 1945, and fueled by the great famine of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, 1943 to 1944, saw the League Against Fascism and War under Tagore's leadership right from 1937, and the memorable event of setting up Indian People's Theatre Association, or so-called IPTA, in 1943. The latter's Nabanno, 1943, based on the tortured, insulted and repressed masses of Bengal, was a theatrical event of and century, and repeated many times, was felicitated by Shishir Kumar as what they have done I could not achieve in my lifetime. While IPTA continued in full blaze for a couple of decades, many powerful theatre groups were formed, rallying around some talented directors and actors. 1948 saw one of the best, Bahurupi, coming up under the baton of Shambhu Mitra, who gave many a memorable production on the Bengali stage. Pothik, 1949, Chhenatar, 1950, Ulukhagra, 1950, Char Udhhay, 1951, Dashachakra, 1952, Raktokorobi, 1954, Daghar, 1957, Putul Khela, 1958, Visarjan, 1961, Raja, 1964, Ghore Baire, 1974, Pagla Ghoda, 1975, Malini, 1986, Mr. Kakatua, 1987, and several others. From Tagore to Ibsen, Sophocles to Eugene UNESCO, Bahurupi staged some of the best theatre ever seen. LTG, or Little Theatre Group, under Utpal Datta, moved from English to Bengali in 1954 and came out with the coal mine-based Ongar, 1959, refugee-centered THEATRE-Section2 Nodin-Nam, 1963, naval mutiny-oriented Kallol, 1965, old theatre-based Teenet Talwar, 1971, Barricade, 1972, emergency-based Dushapnen Nagari, 1914, and many others. Torun Rai's Theatre Center and Sobita Brutodatta's Rupokar came in the 50s along with Shobhonik, Gandharvo, theatre unit, and others with significant stage productions. 1960 saw the rise of Nandikar under Ajitesh Bandyopadhyay, who gave such unforgettable works as Sher Afghan 1960, Nattokarer Sandhane Choti Choritro 1961, Monjori Amer Monjori 1964, Tin Paishar Pala 1970, and Bhalo Manush 1972, based on Pirandello, Chekhov, and Brecht, a rich fare indeed. In the 60s and 70s came theatre workshop, theatre commune, Chetona, Shayok, Charbak, and countless others like Swapno Sandhani, Brattojon, etc. Emanating from a voice of protest and self-assertion, theatre tried to give articulation to the common man's joys and despairs, ambitions and frustrations. The contemporary scene, the emergence of group theatre has been a significant event today, when the directors, actors, and theatre workers have formed many groups, often transient in existence, but always vibrant in expressing aspirations and conducting experiments. They live outside the professional arena on a shoestring budget and survive more on love for theatre than on largesse. Street theatre has been another variant often performed on small playgrounds, street corners, etc., on an impromptu basis and used for political propaganda, social messages, or educational purposes. This has been a direct descendant of poster theatre, which flourished in the 60s to 80s and has been somewhat on the wane since. Badal Sarkar propagated third theatre as a variation of physical theatre of Grotowski and staged them, often based on improvisations, to appreciative audiences. Professional theatre, as mentioned earlier, has been providing staple fare on commercial stage with paid artists, unlike group theatre, and has taken an organized shape since the early 60s. Some memorable production on the stage, often by a group theatre directors and actors from silver screen, working on a contract basis, have been Shetu, Khuda, Shamoli, Shaib Bibi Gulam, Anthony Kobiel, Naam Jibon, Monjori, Barbodhu, Nohobat, and others. Another important event was a thorough politicization of the folk form Jatra with fairs like Lenin, Stalin, Hitler, Karl Marx, and Utpal Datta's worthwhile contributions like Boishaki Meg and Rifle to this genre. The other branches of theatre that have flourished alongside the above are mime theatre under Jogesh Datta's Padaboli, Niranjan Goswami's Indian Mime Theatre, etc. Children's Little Theatre under Samod Chatterjee with Mithua, Oban Patua, Jijo, and Soilan Ghosh with Arun Barun, Kiran Mala, and others. And Puppet Theatre under Raghunath Goswami, Suresh Datta, etc. with Aladdin, Ramayan, Sita, and so on. The stage sets, properties, light effects, and makeup have got great impetus, starting with Shotu Sen of the Sisir Kumar age and under Tapas Sen, Khaled Chaudhuri, Kanishka Sen, Suresh Datta, Nirmal Guharai, Ananta Das, and many others. Not the least is music nurtured by some of the talented directors themselves and others like Devashish Dasgupta and Murari Rai Chaudhuri. The post-80s Bengali theatre has become colorful with the presence of the following among others: Nandimukh under Ajitesh Bandyopadhyay, Nandikar under Rudraprasad Sengupta, Sundaram under Manoj Mitra, Nukshatra under Samuel Ghosh, Chetona under Arun Mukhopadhyay, THEATRE-Section2 under Ashok Mukhopadhyay, Unno Theatre under Bibhas Chakraborty, Theatre Commune under Nilkanta Sengupta, Gandhar Chupkotha under Rashid Mukhopadhyay, Samikhan under Pankaj Munshi, Shayok under Meghnad Bhattacharya, Nattayon under Anusha Majumdar, Shudrak under Devashish Majumdar, Pancham Vaidik under Shauli Mitra, Arabdha Natya Niketan under Tripti Mitra, the ensemble under Sohag Sen, the Brattojon under Bratto Bosu, the Sapno Sandhani under the Sapno Sandhani, the name of the director I forgot. Some of non-Calcutta groups like THEATRE-Section2, Balurghat, Bahrampur Repertory Theatre, Murshidabad, Christy Sangsad, Sonarpur, and Theatre Living Laboratory, Khordha, are also putting up significant theatre works with the latest edition of Sutrapat under Jayati Bose and Nandipot under Bimal Chakraborty, among others. The non-Bengali theatre is agog with Pratibha Agarwal's Anamika, which was a pioneer in 1961 with the Tagore centenary presentation of Ghore Baire. Others are Samananda Jalan's Padatik and Usha Ganguly's Rangokurmi alongside Bengali theatre. The whole of India, in fact, is the canvas of today's Bengali theatre, with Allahabad holding festivals and groups in Lucknow, Bangalore and Mumbai putting in good theatre. Last but not the least, Delhi has been the scene of some very good Bengali drama with Navodaya Goshti, Jajabar Goshti, Bikalpo, etc. Thank you. Prabir Datta. Namaskar.